Everyone, Rick Becker here. I am chairman of End to Unfair Property Tax. We've got the ballot measure number 4 that will be on the ballot in November for you to vote on to give yourself huge tax relief, to make things better, more transparent, more fair, and to keep local control. Okay, 100% local control. So we're refuting opposition. What we're talking about today is Rich Wardner. He was the Senate Majority Leader for the vast amount of time I was in the legislature. He oversaw tremendous skyrocketing spending. And, I remember back when Al Carlson was Majority Leader in the House, and they would fight, and we could not get any kind of spending restraint from the Senate while Rich was the Majority Leader. So a lot of the overspending that you're seeing over the past 12, well, not in the last 4 years, but prior to that, for a decade, definitely we're talking Rich Wardner is at fault there and bears a lot of the responsibility. Actually, the whole legislature does, but he was the Senate Majority Leader demanding for all of the spending increases. Okay, so this is just so you know who we're talking about. So what I want to do is address his white paper. He has a white paper. We talked about Amy Kopis with educational leaders, has a white paper. This white paper is not an academic paper. There's no research. There's no dissecting things and coming up with good arguments based on things. This is just a bloom. There you go. Propaganda, fear campaign, and we're going to call it a white paper. I just want you to realize that. So to address this white paper, I'm going to bring up first the measure itself, and then we're going to bring up what Rich Wardner is saying in his white paper. Okay, so the measure itself, let's take a look. Now, in the measure we've got right here, this is the petition title, super long and complicated, probably by design. That's unfortunate because that's what people are going to see on the ballot. I didn't make it, Secretary of State and the Attorney General did. There is something here I want you to see, just like with Amy. I showed you, it's very clear. This is so clear. The state shall provide annual property tax revenue replacement payments to political subdivisions in an amount equal to no less than the amount of tax levied on real property by the political subdivisions, excluding what they bonded, in the year that it was approved by the voters. So the amount that was levied in 2024, that will be paid in 2025, every single dollar of that is going to go to the political subdivisions. They will never lose a dollar of that. The state is going to replace it. They're constitutionally mandated to replace it. They can't put strings attached. They can't do anything. They just have to go here. There is no increase in state control. Okay, then I want to scroll down to section number 4 of the measure right here. And really the part is, a political subdivision may not issue a general obligation bond secured with tax levied on the assessed value of property. Okay, a city or county, city primarily, cannot levy a general obligation bond secured with tax levied on the assessed value of property. That's property tax as we know it. What Rich would have you believe is the sentence stops right here. A political subdivision may not issue general obligation bonds. But that's not what it says. It says it can't issue a bond secured with property tax. You can secure it with a lot of other things. A general obligation bond is based on the good faith and credit of the city issuing the bond. That's all it is. So it's intentional. What he is doing is intentional, not giving you the whole story. It's the same with the bond. It's the same with the fact that the state has to replace everything. All right. Now, let's get to his letter. I want to put up the website there. All right. Now, his white paper, if we can call it that, is very interesting, much like Amy Kopis's. And here we go. This is not it. Let's get it. Hold on. I'm coming. Oh, I need a producer. All right. Now we have it. I don't know how that could have happened, but so here's Rich Wardner's paper. And he says this paper explores the ramifications of the proposed property tax measure. And this is the key for Rich. It's underpinned by perceptions of state overspending. Now, I would say it's not perceptions. State overspending is huge. They spend like drunken sailors. You know it, I know it, but he thinks it's a perception somehow that the state has. And then he says, and the fiscal reallocation. So that's a fancy way of saying the fact that the state would have to replace the property tax. Fiscal reallocation. That's the main problem here, folks. He believes that every dollar the state is spending is necessary, and he has believed it for the last 20 years. No dollar of state spending is ever a wasted dollar in his mind, and that's what he brings to the table with his white paper. Okay, we have here the proposed elimination of property taxes is predicated on assertions of state overspending and the potential for fiscal reallocation, but this perspective overlooks the intricate balance of North Dakota's budget. This is classic Rich Wardner. You guys just don't understand. I mean, this is intricate balance. This is stuff, you just don't want to get into. You got to leave it to us. That's his position. Okay. So he has a lot of what Amy Kopis has as far as his two primary points. And I'll get to that. His two primary points that he hits over and over again when he goes around the state is one, we won't be able to do bonding. Okay, you won't be able to do general obligation bonds. It's flat out false. I showed you that in the measure. You can do general bonding. You can do other types of bonding. So that's fear mongering. It's misleading, and it's intentionally misrepresenting. I call that a lie. The other thing is that he says the state doesn't have the money to do it. He also says that there could be loss of funding, but primarily he just says, you know what, we don't have the money to do it. Well, he has said that, and I'm not trying to personally attack him, but I'm trying to get you into his state of mind and where his state of mind, his philosophy, it has been for the last 15 years or more, probably a lot more. He's a big spender. He believes in government spending. He believes it's proper for the government to take your money and spend it on all the things they've been spending. So he truly believes there's no extra money to do this. Now, one of the things he does, and I want you to be aware of, this is an old trick. He's used it many times. Governor Burgum has used it. A lot of politicians used it. He talks about that we have a $19.5 billion budget, but it's federal funds, it's special funds, and it's our general fund. And he only wants to talk about the general fund. He says, the federal funds are obligated. The special funds are for special things. Bull crap. Okay, go ahead and take federal funds off the table. We are overspending by $2.5 billion every single year, $5 billion per biennium without federal funding. I've shown it on the website. So bottom line is, number one, Rich Wardner is wrong in that the state doesn't have enough money to replace it. Okay, Rich Wardner is wrong in the fact that locals can't do bonding anymore. That's all scare tactics, okay? And number three, Rich Wardner is wrong that we can only look at the general fund. And then he'll say, well, it's like 40% of the general fund. We can't give up 40%. Take a look at how oil tax revenue is dispersed. Most of it is going into not the general fund, but the SIF fund, Strategic Investment and Improvement Fund. Okay. These are games that they are playing. They are playing and manipulating you because they want a no vote. They want this measure to fail so that they have that much more money to keep the party going. So they can broker all these deals, these power brokers, and they are going to give the money instead of back to you. They're going to give it to the private businesses they've been giving it to over and over and over with all of these scams and these schemes, and you're left out in the cold. How much reform, how much relief have you gotten in the last 12 years? Very, very little. That's why we need to take it into our own hands. We need to provide ourselves with the relief, with the reform. Don't